Hey, what's up, homies? As you probably read from the title, Ryan has been fired. He will no longer be a part of this podcast. So he's not going to be here today. We were also supposed to have a guest, but they didn't respond. They said they were going to reach back to us, but they didn't. So yeah, welcome to the Trash Talk podcast, only Emilio edition, which is pretty epic. And yeah, our audience in over here on the podcast is actually way more different than my audience on my YouTube channel. What up? Apparently, we're watched well in the United States. That's a big part of it. But a big chunk of our audience is from the United States, 60%. But then we go to Ireland, to Leinster. Leinster? Am I saying that correctly? Oh, Dublin. Okay, so Dublin is where most people listen to this podcast over in Ireland. And we're also being listened to from Thuringia in Germany, from Mongenholzhausen. What up? Hallo. Es geht? Ja, wir sprechen Deutsch in dieser Episode. No Deutsch, yeah. I'm just kidding. What up? It's very different here. It's very European, more European than I'm used to. Over on YouTube so far this year, most of our audience has been from Mexico, which is completely makes sense. I'm actually Mexican. I live in Mexico, so YouTube actually promotes regionally. And I think, yeah, my most popular video ever of all time is in Spanish. So obviously, most of it's going to be in Spanish. Most of it's going to be from Mexico, is what I mean. And second place, we got the U.S., followed by the U.K., Australia, and Canada. And yeah, that's actually quite impressive. I'm not entirely sure why, but it makes sense. But like of all time, like what I just read was just 2020 for my channel. But of all time, obviously Mexico leads and the U.S. follows. And the U.K. is actually still third, but fourth and fifth is Peru and Argentina. So shout out to them, even though they don't listen to the podcast. Also, most of you listen to us on your web browser or whatever. A huge percent is also MacBook users. So what up? It's actually probably me just checking up on the podcast. So yeah, what up, everybody? Trash talk. It's so weird because I mean I'm used to just sitting in my room and just talking to myself for my YouTube videos, but it's different for my podcast. I don't know. I used to do the podcast alone, for those of you who don't know, without Ryan, and I just interviewed people. And the hard thing was that, well, at the same time, I was having another podcast in Spanish with my best friend, and I knew he was almost always available. So I just filmed with him. But the problem with the old trash talk format was that I would really need another person, because otherwise it would be me talking to a microphone like a dumbass without a script, like right now. So yeah, let's just hope everything works out fine. So yeah, last week we talked about the death car, I think that was. Today I actually called my dad, and the death car is still in one piece, surprisingly. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to last week's episode. I'm doing my announcer voice for this episode, huh? This week hasn't been as crazy as last week. I don't know. I need you guys to help me settle an argument I had with Ryan. Is it normal to be in your 20s and not have a bank account? Or have a bank account that's managed by your parents? Because, that's weird, guys. That's weird. I'm going to call out Ryan on this one. Ryan, if you're listening, what the heck, man? But yeah, the reason I'm talking about money at the beginning of this podcast is because we actually tried to monetize the podcast, because for those of you who aren't YouTube savvy, basically on YouTube you have to reach a certain amount of subscribers and watch time on your channel in order to get monetized. And on Anchor it's just like get we have a really low amount of views. So they were just like, hell yeah, dude, sure, you can monetize. But then as I try to fill out the form, but it's only available for the US. So it's just like, fuck. And then I told Ryan, oh, well, just use your credit card and then you can just PayPal me or whatever. And then Ryan says, "Oh well, this is my Ryan voice. Oh well, it's just that I don't have a bank account." And I'm just like, "What the fuck, dude? You're older than me. How do you not have a bank account?" This podcast is 100% no greedy interest. We're doing it for the love until Anchor pays me. I'm just kidding. It's really fun doing this podcast. I feel like in my videos I do get to express myself, but only about certain topics. You know, not really, I guess, talk about myself. There is some episodes where I talk about my life, but it's like story times. Really, it doesn't represent really who I'm currently, or if it's a story time, it's just like a dumb little skit. I don't know, but yeah, I just really like this one. Sometimes I feel like you just need to vent, right? And this podcast is a great way to do it for me. I really like cut myself from everything that doesn't have to do with work or school. You know, I'm just constantly on that, and I guess I turned social interaction to be a part of my job. Well, kind of my job, because Anchor won't pay me. What up, Anchor? Pay me, bitches. But it gives me an opportunity to vent, and you know, it's a way for me to justify it as work. I don't feel like I'm slacking off, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm doing actually something productive. I don't know if anyone feels like that. Maybe that's just one of my quirky personalities. So they tried to scam us earlier this week. I got an email for a sponsorship for the podcast. I don't think I can say the name of the brand. It has to do with exercise. Hopefully someone knows it. But they basically emailed me like, "Oh, we're a huge fan of you." I was like, "Okay, why?" For starters, that's the tipping point. That's the tipping point. But no, they were like, "Oh, we wanna help you win a collab. We'll give you a 25% off discount for life and 10% code for your viewers, or 15, something like that." And I'm just like, "Okay, sounds cool. What do you guys want?" And they say, "Oh well, it's one of these ambassador scams. It's like they offer you a sponsorship, but you have to pay for the product. But they give you like a discount. They're like 25% off just for you to, you know, be a part of our team." And I don't know, it feels like a pyramid scheme, because they tell you, "Oh well, so you give your discount code to your friends or followers or whatever, and every time they use it, you get 10% commission," which sounds good, but you also realize that, for example, I think one of their cheapest product is like $30, right? So I got offered 25% discount, like $20-ish. So I would need like 6 people to use my code, or well, actually I would need 7. I'm just really bad at math. That's why I get scammed. I would need 7 people to be like, "Oh, well, I'm going to use this podcast code." So yeah, it's kind of a scam. I also saw videos of other people that did buy the product, and you know, you have to do like some posts. They call it ambassador, which is, it just sounds like pretty weird. Like they're trying to give you a really like big title so you feel special. Yeah, there was like videos about ambassador scams, and they also didn't mention the name of the brand. The description of their products was very similar as the one I got. But what I found the most interesting part is that I didn't respond to their emails for like a couple of days, because like me and Ryan were talking about it and be like, "Should we?" Because we're going to go half and half and be like, "Well, their account has a lot of followers, so maybe like people from there jump to us." I was looking through not their followers list. Oh no, that is what I was. People that follow them, and most of them are their ambassadors, people that bought the product just so they would give them money. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of sketchy, you know, especially because they do pay some influencers. You know, maybe you could pay all of us. I don't know, man. But yeah, they got desperate and they offered me actually a 50% off code after that. And I was like, I was kind of thinking, it's okay, it's $15, you know, $7.50 ain't that much between me and Ryan. but Ryan's kind of cheap, so he wouldn't do it. No, but we're obviously not gonna do that because it's just a terrible idea. Even Ryan was like, I don't know, bro. It's like, are we seriously even considering? And I was like, yeah, I know. We're the biggest fucking idiots for even thinking about doing this. But yeah, that's the scam, the scammy scam. Well, that's enough talk about scams and Anchor. Who should probably pay me? I don't know, man. Maybe you should. It's so weird because we don't even have it. So like when you upload your audio file over to Anchor, it gives the option to like put ads on it, but it also doesn't give me the option so I can receive that money. What up, Anchor? What you playing? They're never gonna sponsor this, are they? No, I'm just kidding. Anchor's, they're cool. I'm just waiting for my money, Anchor. No, there's no money. Nobody listens to this shit. But yeah, something else I want to talk about is football. What? So yeah, football, soccer, whatever you call it. The one where they actually use their feet with the ball, you know? So yeah, it's kind of been a weird year for sports in general. You know, the Olympics were postponed, Euros were postponed, Copa America was postponed. You know, I actually bought a Tokyo 2020 shirt, and now I have to get like a 1 next to it. Football has seen, a weird return-ish. You know, the Bundesliga's back. I don't know when I'm posting this podcast, but I'm hoping maybe other leagues come back. You know, Ligue 1 was canceled and PSG won, so really no surprise there. Actually, if you're a PSG fan, do you actually celebrate this title? Because, that's kind of lame to win it like that. You know, if my team won a league title like that, I'd probably be like, whatever. I wouldn't be as excited if they got to finish this season. But, whatever you feel like. But yeah, the Bundesliga is back. I don't know. It's kind of weird seeing the games without people. Well, today I watched Leverkusen against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Why did I say it like that? Shouldn't I say it like everybody else, Mönchengladbach? But I don't know. Should I say like Mönchengladbach? I feel like if I don't say Mönchengladbach, my German teacher is going to come and slap me. But yeah, they put cardboard. Borussia put cardboards of their fans, cardboard cutouts in the stands. Which I thought was kind of cool. You know, I think people paid 19 euros, so they would do that for you. I don't know, man. I think it'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Another thing that's been crazy is that Liga MX, or the Mexican First Division, they technically just eliminated relegation, so it's basically like MLS. But they just canceled the season because, the article I have here says 8 players, but earlier I read it was 12. Because 12 players from Santos Laguna, I think they're a team from the north of Mexico. 8 of them, 12, because this article is kind of old. The one I found. But I lost the one I wanted to read on the podcast. But 12 players from this team were diagnosed with COVID. Some are asymptomatic, I believe. If not all of them, I'm not sure. But yeah, so they canceled the league because 12 players with COVID. And if you don't know, you need 11 players on the pitch. You can have a few, I feel like it's 6, I believe. 6 players on the bench. But even then, 12, imagine, I know the goalkeeper that was diagnosed was the starting goalkeeper, which is an important position if you don't follow sports, or at least football. So, they're essentially fucked. But the part that's I guess the most enraging is that these players actually had a party to celebrate the goalkeepers who I just mentioned. So, everybody's like, wait, how could you be so irresponsible? Even though they're like, oh, it wasn't that. We had precautions. But come on. The only way to stay safe is to stay home or wear a hazmat suit everywhere. And I feel like even then. But yeah, that happened. And which kind of sucks, is that if you don't follow Mexican football, there's this team from Mexico City. Well, they're from a different city, but they moved to Mexico City. Um, this team, Cruz Azul, they've gone, I think, since 1990. I don't know, but they've been 20 years. Yeah, I think that's true. I don't know. Let's check. Cruz Azul. La Máquina Azul. Cruz Azul last title. It's not like 100 years or something crazy. It was 1997. So, a bit, 23 years, I think that would be. Holy crap. So 23 years without winning the league. That's not good, bro. That's not good. And they were number one. Like, they were in first place before this whole thing. And everybody was like, this might be the year they actually win their first league title in 23 years. Even though, like, being first place in the league doesn't mean the same thing as, for example, in the Bundesliga. Not just because first place of the Bundesliga goes to the Champions League. As well as second, third, and fourth. But you know what I mean. So the way it works here, it's kind of like in American sports, like the NFL or whatever. So the top 8 teams in the league go to the playoffs, and the first seed goes against the 8th seed, and whatever. And realistically, being first place, the only thing that it has, the only perk it gives is that if you're first place and your game's drawn, despite like visitor goals or whatever, away goals, you automatically qualify to the next round. That only doesn't work in the final, but that's actually the only perk that being first place realistically has. You get to have the final at your home stadium, but that just happens if you're the number 1 seed. The higher seed than the opponent. But yeah, that's kind of sucks for Cruz Azul fans. But my team, León, was second place. And we actually get to go to the CONCACAF Champions League. And, we have some European viewers here. We have people from Ireland and Germany. And I know that probably the CONCACAF Champions League doesn't have the same level of play as, like, say, even the Europa League or the... What's the Europa League equivalent of South America? I think it's the... Shit, I don't know. So the Libertadores. Oh, the Sudamericana. So yeah, it doesn't have the same level as play as there, but the thing is, I really hope we do good this time, because last season we got to play LAFC, and LAFC, they had Carlos Vela and whatever. I feel like he shouldn't play in MLS. I feel like he should have gone to a better league, but whatever. Anyway, so it was against LAFC. And my team, León, won the first leg, I think, 2-0. And we went pretty confident to Los Angeles to play the second leg. But we absolutely got slapped by LAFC. So, this time around is our chance to redeem ourselves, I feel like. Holy shit. I haven't been filming for that long. And I feel like most of it's just me... Well, not even the mumbling part. It's just more of me looking for the goddamn articles or whatever thing I'm talking about. Yeah. That shit's crazy, man. Well, something else I wanted to talk about was last summer, we actually had an exchange student stay at my house. What up? Pretty epic. So last year I went on foreign exchange. It's not really like your typical foreign exchange where you go a month and that. They call it cultural exchange. So what I understand is that there's 3 types. There's an academic where you do go a semester. There they also had sporting and what I did, a cultural exchange where you just go like a week, and it's pretty epic. So, the arrangement was that I would go to Hiroshima and a girl from Hiroshima would come here. Well, there was actually 3 from us and 3 of them. And I stayed at a house, whatever. But when it came to like finding a place where a girl from Japan would stay, they couldn't find one. They actually only one girl actually had a place to stay, and it was kind of bad. Their chaperone, because for some reason they sent chaperone for those trips, would actually stay at a hotel, whereas our chaperone actually did like a homestay and did stay with a Japanese family, which is weird. Like, okay, I'm gonna a bit of a side tangent. We had a chaperone, and she was a lovely person, but I don't really understand why she went with us, because she didn't really speak English and she didn't speak Japanese or anything, So that was weird. But anyways, so the girl came over to our house because we were like, well, if you guys can't find a place, our house is available, because that son of a bitch ain't gonna be there. And that son of a bitch was me. But they would come like a week after I would return from Japan. She came, and it was really cool. It was someone from Hiroshima. Shout out to Miyu. And yeah, she was pretty cool. We showed her Forrest Gump because she had never watched it. I think I gave a bad impression when I said I didn't like Your Name, because we were talking about movies, and the first thing she asked us was like, "Did you guys watch Your Name, the movie?" And me and my sister watched it. Well, I've watched it 3 times, but that's because I made a video about it, so it doesn't count. But I watched it the first time in the movies, and I was like, this is kind of boring. And then I watched it with my sister, and she was like, yeah, this is kind of boring. So yeah, don't hate me for not liking that movie, okay? So yeah, we gave a bad impression. But no, overall, it was a really cool experience. It was really cool to see someone have the same experience I had just had. So that was pretty cool and epic. But yeah, I actually talked to her this week, and it was way epic. I hadn't talked to her in a while, and it's wherever it is that you live, you might be in the same situation as someone on the other side of the world that you might not know and wouldn't really talk to in any situation. So this is cool. The way it's kind of bringing people together, but it's also pushing us apart, politically and like physically. Whilst we're talking about traveling and stuff, I really miss traveling, guys. I don't know. I remember I did a video for those of you who haven't watched it. Also, why haven't you watched it? I did a video where I talked about my 2019, and then at the end, I talked about what I hope from 2020. And what I really wanted to do this year was travel. We're not going to be able to do that this year. Maybe next year. I did travel at the beginning of the year. I went to Cancun, but I don't know. I feel like traveling domestically is cool, but you don't have the same experience as going to a foreign country at all. It doesn't compare. Even if you go to like a really boring country, I don't know. I don't really know a boring country. I feel like every country has something interesting. But let's just say you go to the most boring country in the world. You're going to remember it way more than traveling domestically. Also, because you can brag like, oh, I went to the most boring country in the world. What up? But yeah. Anyways, yeah, I miss it a lot. And it makes me kind of reminisce of every other time I've gone abroad. Because I feel like that I guess those types of trips are going to take way more longer to be more frequent, because domestic flights, domestic bus trips are still kind of going on, and domestic and international flights are really not such a great idea. So I was reminiscing about the past, and the thought of the first time I went to America came to mind. And it's a bit different because I'll give you the context. I've been wanting to talk about it for a while. I thought, oh well, I'll have Ryan here, and he can be like, yeah, we do that here. But yeah, the U.S. This trip was the first time I've gone 4 times, 2 in the summer and 2 in the winter. I went both times to stay over with my uncle who lives there in Milwaukee. Anyone been there? It's okay. No, Milwaukee's great. Milwaukee's kind of. I feel like maybe taking kids over there is not such a great idea because it's a Brewers town. Like that's the name of the baseball team. And so, most of the things to do there are like bars and stuff like that. So, as a kid, you're not going to really participate in that. But yeah, I'll talk about my first time in America. And then I'll talk about my first time getting laid. What up? Well, I will have to speak in the future tense. Here's for next year. No, but my first time to America, I think, was in 2013. I was 10 years old. Yeah, because we went in June, July, I think it was. Yeah. And my birthday is in August. So was I 10? Holy shit. I was 10 years old. I can't believe it was that long ago. I'm about to turn 18. Holy shit. So yeah, I went there and it was fun. I guess it was kind of hard because my uncle, he doesn't have kids, so it was hard for him and hard for us as well, because it was our first time traveling and without our mom. Well, it's not like we traveled a lot with my mom either, but I'll get to that. So it was kind of hard for both of us. Also, my grandma is a little bit distracted because she's old. Hi, grandma. So I think that made it hard, but I still had fun. Obviously, my first time in the U.S. At first, it was like really weird. Being in another country for the first time, it takes a while to sink in. I don't know how I imagined it, but I imagined it being like super obvious I was in another country. Do you know what I mean? Because, I was like, I imagined that once you enter the U.S., you couldn't listen to Spanish or whatever. Well, it kind of is. Like that sort of idea disappears and you only speak English. But no, it didn't happen because we hung out with a bunch of Latines, and they only spoke Spanish. 10 years of practicing my English for that moment. But no, it was fun. I got to see firsthand American culture. I remember our first day we went to McDonald's, so I don't think there was anything more American that we could have done other than maybe, I don't know, buy guns. It was really cool. Tailgating is something that I discovered. We don't really do that here in Mexico. It's like you buy a ticket, you go inside, and you don't have a barbecue in the parking lot. But I guess it makes sense for baseball because games are so freaking long. Although I do wish my uncle would have lived in a different city, maybe like Wisconsin Dells or Green Bay or Chicago, because there's more kid-friendly activities there. Obviously Wisconsin Dells has all the water parks. Well, I remember near Green Bay, I don't even remember if it was the same county, but near Green Bay there was like carnival rides and stuff as well. And, Chicago has a bunch of stuff to do. It's like a huge city. So, yeah, that was America. Yeah, we also made a great friends that summer. It was cool. And then winter was a bit hard because winters in Milwaukee are horrible. Like, it gets pretty snowy and it's really hard to go outside. I remember we were there for like the coldest day of winter in like a bajillion years or something like that. I don't remember the exact temperature, but it was so cold. It's so cold to the point where you throw boiling water outside and it like instantly freezes as soon as you throw it. But it was really cool. It was the first time we ever saw snow. Me and my sister, who always would come on these trips as well. I remember I gave her a black eye because I threw snow at her, and we didn't, like in Mexico we don't get snow. Well, at least in the part I live in. So yeah, where we live in Mexico, there isn't snow. Well, it snowed once, and it was okay. It's like if an American would see that, they'd be like, "Wow, this is kind of lame." but for us was pretty cool. Anyway, so in Milwaukee, it was the first time we saw snow, like actual snow, not that shitty like Costco snow, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I remember the first time we jumped to snow. Like we stopped at a diner, and me and my sister just saw like a pile of snow, and we jumped straight at it, and we got all wet. We didn't. I don't know what we were expecting it to be, but we got all wet. We didn't expect it, and we walk into the diner, and the hostess says, "Oh, was that your first time seeing snow?" And we were like, "Yeah, what's the problem, bitch?" I'm just kidding. She was nice, and we were like, "Oh no, it's just that we're not from here," and blah blah blah. So yeah. Anyways, back to the black eye. I didn't know. You were basically throwing ice. I don't know why in my mind it didn't just like it didn't sink in. It's like, oh yeah, ice and snow, totally different things. So I threw it at my sister's eye, and the next day she had a black eye. But she got her revenge. She grabbed me from my hoodie hat. Well, I don't know what it's called, but you know what I mean. The hoodie part on your jacket. Why did I? Yeah, that's what it's called, right? So she grabbed me from there and like pushed my face straight into the snow and left it there for like a good 10 seconds. I don't know how I was able to breathe, but that happened, and my sister also burnt my face, and yeah, it sucks. But yeah, the snow's fun. I learned how to ice skate that year, which was pretty epic. I don't know what else happened. Oh yeah, my mom went on this trip as well, but she like caught up to us like after we went there. She actually arrived Christmas Day, because I think we arrived at like the beginning of December, and she arrived Christmas Day, which was pretty cool to have my mom there. And she left she left New Year's Day actually. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, she left New Year's Day, I believe. Yeah, I think it was. So yeah, that was pretty epic as well. But then came America trip number 3. What up? The trilogy continues. America trip number 3. That one was kind of weird because there's this airline in Mexico called Volaris, which is like one of the cheaper airlines. I think it's like the Mexican equivalent of Ryanair, for those of you who know that one. For our European friends over in Ireland and Deutschland. But yeah, it's kind of like Ryanair, maybe a little bit more expensive actually. But they like opened a flight from Chicago to my city, Leon, and Leon, Chicago to Midway Airport. Yeah, I think it was. And it was way cheaper because what we used to do is that we left from Leon, which is my city in Mexico, I forgot to mention. And from there, we would arrive in Houston. And from Houston, we would arrive in Milwaukee. And that was a long-ass flight with United and super expensive. So our new plan was just we flew out from Leon all the way to Chicago. And from Chicago, we would just drive up to Milwaukee. Easy peasy, right? No, it wasn't. So that time we got fucked. I remember that day we arrived at the airport, and me and my sister were talking about how we didn't believe we were going back to the U.S. We thought it was crazy. We were really excited, especially because that day, as soon as we arrived, we were going to go to a baseball game. And I'm not a really big baseball fan, but I enjoy going to the stadium because it's a different vibe than from watching it on TV. So we were pretty excited. I was like, hell yeah, tailgating, that's hella fun. And we arrive at the airport, we're checking in, and the lady says, oh, it's just that you guys are missing an important document. And my mom checks. I was like, no, everything's here. Visas, passport. Oh yeah, because visas, that's... Getting a visa is another thing. For those of you who are as unlucky as me as to not be U.S. citizens. Visas are a bitch. But today, the visa wasn't actually fucking us over. It was the Mexican government themselves. So, well, a big problem here in Mexico is that people from other countries. Okay, no, I'm actually starting at the wrong point. So Mexico has one of the highest counts of teen pregnancies, which also means that Mexico has to give away a lot of kids to adoption because abortion is illegal here. It's a whole problem. It's a whole problem. So other people from other countries want to adopt children. Why did I start it there? So other people from other countries want to adopt children. But if you've seen Friends, Chandler and Monica went through hell to adopt their twins. So let's just say, I don't want to get in trouble here, but people from other countries, such as the U.S., since they are paying in dollars, and that's a lot of money in pesos, come over here and they buy kids. So yeah. So to stop this, the Mexican government applied this policy where your parents have to sign like a permit to let you out of the country, which it doesn't even make sense because the permit it's so stupid. It doesn't even make sense because the whole idea is to stop children from getting kidnapped. But you only need one signature of the parent, and I think you don't even need ID of who their adult companion, is that the right word, is going to be. So your kids are not safe really with that thing. You're actually safer putting your kids under they're traveling alone, which is what I used to do before I'm turning 18 this August 17th. Which is a lot. It's an easier process because, your parents just sign and they need to show evidence that they are actually your parents, as opposed to the other one where they don't have to. But yeah, we needed that permit and we didn't have it. And the flight was leaving in 1 hour. So my mom was like, what do we do? And it's like, well, you guys don't have time because the airline, just made you lose a bunch of times. And if you didn't know, the airline actually has to let you know about every other document, because when you book a flight, you have to put your visa, your passport, and if you put minors that are traveling with someone that isn't related to them, well, who was my grandma or accompanying, but whatever. No, it's not related specifically. It's their guardian or parent. We're like, Grandma, adopt us right now. So no, that's not what happened. We lost the flight, and now we had to redo the whole process again. We didn't lose our vacation. We got another flight and we got the permit like a week later. We lost a week of vacations. So fuck you, Volaris. Now the next flight we took with them, they were nicer. But yeah. Yeah, that's summer vacation. What happened other than us getting fucked over at the airport? I think we went to Wisconsin Dells again. We basically did everything that we did the first time, but now we were a little bit older, so we lasted longer. Also, we just had lost like a week worth of America time, so we were really trying to make the best out of it. I'm really trying hard to remember, what did we do? It's just that memory of what we did is blocked by the fact that we got fucked over at the airport. But yeah, it was cool. I turned 13 that summer. But yeah, after that, it was time for America trip number 4. America trip number 4. This one, we went in winter again. And this one was kind of an express vacation because usually my mom is pretty planned out with vacation. Like our last vacation we took, she planned it out like 2 months ahead. But this time she bought the tickets like not even a week, like probably like 3 days before the flight left. And she saw that they were super cheap and we still had our visas because mine expired like a year from then. So, because if you don't know, if you're a minor, most of the times, I don't know if this is the case for everyone, but your visa expires when you turn 15 and then you have to renew it and get an adult grown-up big boy visa. So I thought, yeah, hell yeah, let's go. And we did the same flight. We arrived at Chicago and then we drive to Milwaukee. And this time around, when we arrived in customs, so fun fact, I have a vanilla daddy and a chocolate mommy. So me and my sister don't look alike at all. I'm my sister is white, like pale, and I'm brown, like not pale. So when we arrived at the airport, the customs guy, when they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do in the U.S.?" and I was just like, "Oh, we're just visiting my uncle." And he says, "Oh, where does he live?" And I say, "Oh, he lives in Milwaukee." He's like, "Oh, where do you want to go there?" I was like, "I don't know, man." Anyways, so yeah, it was actually the first time me and my sister ever traveled alone, by the way, because those 3 other times my grandma would come with us. And my grandma is white, so she kind of looks like my sister. Well, all white people look alike. What up? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So yeah, and the customs guy, so Mike takes a look at me and my sister and is like, so how do you guys know each other? My sister says, we're related. Yeah, it's one of those like customs. Everyone has a story. My grandma one time got confused with a cartel leader because they had the same name apparently. I don't know. Like my grandma's almost blind, so I wouldn't really be scared by her. So yeah, anyways, we go through customs, we go outside. That one, I think that was when Pokemon Go was kind of popular. So I was playing Pokemon Go most of that trip. I got to ice skate in an Olympic training facility, which was pretty epic. I fell down a bunch of times. I remember I was trying to look cool in front of this girl, but I just looked like a complete idiot because it's like I already look like myself, and ice skating, I look like an even more bigger idiot. But yeah, we did the same thing. I mean, we arrived Christmas Day, and I think we left like January 6th, 7th ish. I don't know. All I remember from when we were going back was that I've told this story a million times, but probably even on this podcast, but everyone that knows me is like, "Oh yeah, Emilio did this." But I remember I put my laptop at the bottom at security in the airport, and on top of it I put my jacket and my backpack. And when it passed through the scanner, the people from TSA thought it was a bomb, and they shouted at me. They were like, "You dumbass, you can't do that. Stupid. Don't put your laptop at the bottom of our stuff because we're going to think it's a bomb because we're stupid." And actually, the same thing happened when I was coming back from Japan, but it didn't happen to me. It happened to my friend, Jimena, shout out. So she's an artist and she draws a lot. And, it's a 15-hour flight from Tokyo to Mexico City. So she brought her pencils and coloring stuff and drawing stuff, whatever. I don't know how to draw. I do shitty podcast. So she brought a metal pencil case, and she did the same thing as me, except she didn't take them out, but she did put them at the bottom of like everything in her backpack. And luckily, Japanese people are a lot nicer. I speak a little bit of Japanese because what up. I'm a bit of a hentai expert myself. No, I speak a little bit of Japanese. I've been studying for 2 years. TSA guy says nani nan desu ka, he said like what in his Japanese because he saw these guys don't speak Japanese for shit. And my friend says pencil case. It's a pencil case. But my friend is like, well, he's not understanding me. What do we do? And I say, "Enpitsu, burupen desu." And he's like, "Oh, daijoubu." And he lets us go. But yeah, those are my experience traveling. Airports, I feel like airports, everyone has well, I don't know if everyone, maybe you just, there's one lucky son of a bitch who doesn't have like an airport story. If you're a piece of shit, son of a bitch, fuck you. But yeah, I have some stories. I already told all my U.S. stories. In Canada, when we arrived, it was super chill. Like, everything there in Canada, although sort of migration process. Is that the correct term? Where you fill out the form and whatnot. Everything there is done electronically. Like they take a picture of you, the robots, the goddamn robots. And yeah, it's like super chill there. So it's like we passed like super quick. But the problem was when we were coming back, random security check, and one of my friends gets picked. And they start checking her. But my friend doesn't speak English or French. So we were essentially fucked. Because my friend's she's just shitting her pants, just thinking, well, I'm going to get my ass in jail. And I'm just like, I just asked the TSA agent. I just asked the TSA. Oh, wait, can I speak? I just asked the TSA agent, like, yo, what's wrong? What's wrong? And the guy doesn't respond. And I say, she doesn't understand English. And I say, is this the bomb check? Like an idiot, because, I mean, that was very bad. And the guy just looks at me like, no, go away. The rudest Canadian. But yeah, that happened in Toronto International. What else? In Japan, nothing happened. Once you arrive, you have to do the bag check, and they have stuff there. It's like pornography is considered contraband, and I'm just like, shit, my hentai. Well, I came here to buy it, so it's okay. No, but yeah, we got a random check, but the guy was really nice, and he was speaking in English, and me to be like every tourist. I went, oh, arigato gozaimasu, after he gave me my bag, and he's like, oh, you speak Japanese? And I'm like, kinda. And he's like, oh, enjoy your trip. And he was really nice. And when I came back, my teacher was like, no, man, people at, I think it was Narita Airport are like super rude. And same thing with Haneda, I think it was. I don't remember which one it was, but he was like, bro, they're really rude. I was like, nah, man, I had the chillest grandpa ever. But, hey, man, my teacher had traveled a lot, and he probably has a lot of stories. I've just not been able to hear all of them at airports. Oh, no, I do know one story from my teacher. He said in England, apparently you have a 3-month visa. Is it? I don't know. But you have a certain amount of period where you don't have to have a special permit to be there. Upon arrival, that is. So my teacher was backpacking through England. No, England? My teacher was backpacking through Europe. And he arrived in England after, being through France, whatever. So he arrives at the border, and they ask my teacher, what's your plan in England, lads? And apparently the guy was Scottish. And my teacher says, oh, I don't really have a plan. I'm just like cruising. And the guy says, go to the back of the line, and hopefully when you get there, you already have a plan. So they denied my teacher entry to the UK. So that kind of sucked. And that's where we're going to leave this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to read all the comments being like, bring back Rian. That guy's funny. Well, he's not. Yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Smelly Cheese, or subscribe to Smelly Cheese B. Follow us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everything in between. What is that supposed to mean? Find out. I don't know. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Link in the description and linked right here on every audio listening platform as well. What up? Follow me there. It's epic. I feel like I've said that word a lot of times today, not even on this podcast. Hopefully you guys had fun just with me. Me and Rian are actually getting a divorce, so next week is just going to be Rian. But yeah, remember, I love you more than he does. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Bye.